Hello, my historical fashion friends. I have been gone for a few weeks because, I have a problem saying no a lot. So, I ended up working 2 extra jobs in addition to my full-time job that I already have. And I've been really busy, so I didn't film this because every time I was getting home it was super late, and then I didn't have any energy to do this. This is my video on making a medieval smock, and it actually contains the making of 3 smocks, and this is part 1. Because when I was looking at the footage, one of the reasons this took so long was that it was like just the first half was like 4 hours worth of footage, and after some significant cutting and speeding up of footage, I've now got it down to under 20 minutes. So no one wants to watch a limited series on my smock making at this point. So I'm splitting it up into 2 videos, part 1 and part 2. So this is the cutting out of the patterns and a lot of the putting it together, and then part 2 is going to be finishing the smocks. My first couple attempts are definitely not the right size for me, but that's fine because I also want to have costumes for some other people to use in some videos that I want to do that are like little period dramas or little historical comedy sketches. So yay for any of my friends who they do fit. So let's get started. First, you'll see here the pattern pieces already cut out because I don't have a video of me cutting out the actual pattern pieces. So the first smock is made from a white duvet cover that I took apart, and it's part linen, part cotton. But this one I actually made after the second one that you're going to see, but this has the most complete footage, so I've put it first. So I cut out all the pattern pieces, and then I had to iron it because it was super wrinkly. So here's a lot of sped up footage of me ironing. And here I am cutting out the neckline, which I didn't really use any specific maths on. I kind of guessed. I wanted this one to be a wider neck for some more like 13, 14, 15th century style kirtles so that I could go under the ones that have sort of more of the boat neck. But since it's so big on me, it definitely does have a wide neck. So, not sure on the accuracy. Then here I'm just pinning all the gores together to get them sewn so they can be attached to the body of the smock. Now I'm trying on my body piece and seeing how it fits. It definitely was too big at this point. You'll see here that I shortened the width, reduced the width a little bit, but it really wasn't enough at the end. I should have reduced it a lot more. Now I'm trying it on again, and I'm thinking, you know, how is it gonna be? This is basically the first thing I've been attempting to make that has like sleeves and is a full dress and not just a skirt that's rectangles, or the just rectangles tunics from the Roman period. And here is a lot of sped up footage of me sewing everything together. Now I am pinning the sewn gores onto the body of the smock, and I'm double checking to make sure I'm doing it the right way because I have definitely sewn things the wrong direction before. Okay, now it is looking smock-like, and I'm just going to trim off the bottom so it's kind of got like a better shape down there. And here I'm showing the shoulder seams, which have been felled down, and then here's the rolled hem on the neckline. The rolled hem's probably my favorite thing to do. Now I was too lazy to take off the mock-up, so I am sewing the sleeves while wearing the body portion. Now I am trying on the mock-up and pulling on the sleeves. I'm calling it a mock-up because I'm going to make another one of these that actually fits me. Because you'll see later on that the final one that was completed is pink, and I do want a white one. And here I'm realizing how big this is. I'm interested to see how it'll work underneath a kirtle or a tunic, because maybe it just won't matter that it's a little big. Now, on to smock number 2, which was actually smock number 1, because this is the first one I did. And it is also way too big. I made it like crazy long at first. It was just so long. And I didn't do any sort of tapered sleeve on this one. So the final product kind of seems more like a linen overdress, or, you know, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the base layer. I would probably wear the white smock underneath this and have this sort of be the top layer, and probably add like a surcoat on top of this. So I did basically the exact same thing, like almost the same measurements. From this one is even bigger than the first one. And I reduced the measurements from this one to that one, and it was still way too long. Okay, so, I accidentally deleted like the second half of this audio. So, yeah, now I'm recording it as a voice memo on my phone because I don't have 2 card readers. So if I record it the other way, it's just gonna not work. Great. So now this is a mostly finished smock. Here I've pinned on the sleeves, and later I will discover that I have pinned them on the wrong way. So I'm just going to finish up felling down the inside of the sleeves and then attach the sleeves to the smock. And here you can see the already felled down seam allowance on the body of this smock. And now onto the final smock of this series, which is the one that goes with my Foundations Revealed outfit. So this one is done in a madder-dyed red linen, and I used much smaller measurements than the first two I made. So here you can see me just measuring out everything and then tracing the outlines and cutting it out. The patterning for a smock is so simple. All you need is two rectangles that are the width of basically your right inside where your shoulder is to the inside of the other shoulder. And then as long as you want to make it either floor length or kind of mid-calf if you are a female presenting character, or if you're a male presenting character, you might decide to go with something more to just right below the knee that you could wear underneath your wool tunic over top. And then there's just long rectangles which get cut into triangles and then sewn together. I actually cut two of the gores on the fold so that I could avoid doing an extra seam down the middle for the front and back. So what you end up with is 4 triangles, one in the front, one in the back, and one on each side to give it sort of that flared effect at the bottom. Then you'll need 2 squares for the gores that go in the sleeves, and 2 more rectangles, which you can taper at the ends to make it more fitted to your forearms. Something about the dyeing process also made this linen much more comfortable than the natural dyed linen that you see in the first one, and it's actually the same fabric, just dyed. So maybe when I wash that other smock, it's going to become much more comfortable as well. And here I'm just trying it on and seeing where I want to put the neckline and marking it with a pin so I can cut it out. Now here, all of the gores are attached, and then I'm just going to finish attaching the top of them by hand and the top of the middle one here, which I folded down into a nice little square top. And in the next episode, you'll see me finishing all of the seams and also attaching the sleeves. And that's it for part 1 of my medieval smock making adventure. I hope you'll tune in for part 2 where I finish everything up and put the sleeves in. As of recording this segment here, I have already put the sleeves into the beige one, and I can tell you already that I did it backwards, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave it because I can't be bothered to pull out the sleeves and put them in the other way on a garment that I probably am not going to wear a ton because it's too big. So I might do some sort of decorative, I don't know, like decorative stitch on the seams to kind of cover up the fact that the sleeve is inside out. But, whoops. I tried to stare at it for like so long and figure out which way it was. And you know what? I did it correctly on the pink one, which I did first, but I didn't do it correctly on the one I did second. So, you know, I'll figure it out. Sometimes I'm wondering, you know, like, as historical costume explorers, we're like really obsessed with getting everything exactly right and perfect. And I just wonder, you know, we have such limited garments from history. Like, how many historical garments were people wearing that were done improperly? Even in my Medieval Garments Reconstructed book, there are some references to some of the items which they note as being made poorly. And also, I saw some notes like that on the Herjolfsnes, I hope I said that right, finds, that some of the garments weren't well made. And I feel like sometimes we think they must have made it all perfectly and, you know, known exactly what to do, but I assume just like anything that we do, they also didn't necessarily always do it well. You know, some people have better skills at some things than others. Don't ask me to do your taxes, because I don't know how to do them. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more adventures. I'm also going to be putting out a 2-part series on how I made my Foundations Revealed overdress, and then there'll be episodes coming out on making hose and the leather shoes that I was wearing in my Foundations Revealed costume as well. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I'm probably not going to keep putting out 2 videos a week because it turns out that's really hard to do with my full-time job and also acting auditions and helping feed people's cats. So I'll see if I can figure out what a good schedule is. I have some smaller projects coming up, like hats and veils, which are a little more simple, so that might help. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe if you want to see more of me. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos and follow along on my journey to move chronologically forward in time and explore patterning and the way patterns developed. I have some really exciting books coming for my birthday, which is in a week, so I'm really excited to just read them all and look at beautiful historical costumes.